Okay, so far so good. But this is the point where it usually crashes.
We
So
can
let's
see you now.
Oh no, it's not crashed. Right, here we go. Okay, Iris, over to you.
Right. Korach incites a mutiny, challenging Moses' leadership and the granting of the kahuna, the priesthood, to Aaron. He is accompanied by Moses' inveterate foes, Dathan and Abiram. Joining them are 250 distinguished members of the community who offer the sacrosanct ketoret, incense,
Yep.
to prove their worthiness for the priesthood. The earth opens up and swallows the mutineers, and a fire consumes the ketoret offerers. A subsequent plague is stopped by Aaron's offering of ketoret. Aaron's staff miraculously blossoms and brings forth almonds to prove that his designation as high priest is divinely ordained. God commands that a teruma, uplifting from each crop of grain, wine, and oil, as well as all firstborn sheep and cattle, and other specified gifts, be given to the Kohanim priests.
I think that's it. 1 second. Is there another sheet? No, that's it. Right. Okay. So that's this week's Edra Korach. Now we're going to talk about the role of the leader and Korach's claim that Moshe takes all the glory for himself. So let's see our first source. Here we go. Who would like to read?
I'll read if you like.
On Brenda, yep.
Yes, you have gone too far. The whole community is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is with them. Why then do you set yourself above the Lord's assembly?
Right? Are we not told we're a kingdom of priests and a holy nation? We are all close to God, right? Classic question. So on the surface, not a bad argument, right? Who made you Lord over us, sort of thing? Okay, it's Korach's point to Moshe. He has a point. Surely equality is a Jewish idea that we are all equal before God. The American Declaration of Independence, I'll just read it. It says, we hold these truths to be, what is it? Self-evident that all men are created equal, right? Now, we know the problem with equality, of course, right? What's the problem with equality?
Some are more equal than others.
Right, George Orwell, Animal Farm. Jeff, would you like to read? 2 versions.
All the animals are equal. Version 2, all the animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Right, this very famous quote, right? Initially, they're all equal, and then the pigs start living on the farm, become more human, and they say, all animals are equal, but some more equal than others, right? It's a problem with communism, right? The elite always did the best. So this is Korach's problem as well. He doesn't actually mean that, does he? Because he then says, why can't I be one of the people, the leaders? What if he was sincere? Let's see. Okay. Other examples, right? We said we're a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. So each of us has the power. Why do we need a high priest? This is what Gideon said in the era of the judges. Who else can see? It's just us and Iris. Lisa, can you see the screen?
I think Lisa left, didn't she?
Oh, she left.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Do you want to read number 4?
Sure. I will not rule over you, nor will my son rule over you. The Lord will rule over you.
This is Gideon speaking during the era of the judges. Definitely sounds like saying that we don't need a leader because the Lord will ultimately rule over you. God himself, right? We've talked before about the appointment of a king. The Torah says, when you shall surely want to appoint a king, you should do this, that, and the other. And we asked the question that kings often caused a lot of trouble through history. And also, I think it was something like 600 years or something. It was hundreds of years before they actually appointed the first king. Why didn't they rush to do it? So a lot of the commentaries say that it's the clue is, the Torah says, when you want to be like all the nations of the world and appoint a king. So it's actually a bit of a dig, what they call Yiddish shtech. It's saying, when you become assimilated, you want a king because the other nations have a king. If you insist on having a king, this is how you should do it. What does Samuel warn us about kings? I think we're back to Iris. Iris? This is what the king will do, says Shmuel. Go on.
He will take your sons and make them serve with his chariots and horses, and they will run in front of his chariots. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves. When that day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, but the Lord will not answer you in that day.
So it seemed like quite a lot of compelling sources for not having an all-powerful leader. Right, the famous remark, what is it? Power corrupts, absolutely. Power corrupts absolutely, isn't it? Is that the quote?
Yeah, yeah.
So why would you give so much power to
corrupts
Moshe?
the absolute.
Yeah. So Lord Acton that was apparently. So why would you give so much power to Moshe and Aaron?
Yes,
So Korach
this is
actually came with
okay
the.
now. There you go.
Anybody know what Korach's very clever question was that he asked Moshe?
Well, he wanted to know why he was ruling over everybody.
Yeah, he asked it in metaphor.
Everybody,
There's a couple of metaphors he gave.
maybe
Let's
he
see.
wanted to.
Oh, we're losing you, Brenda. Sorry. Hello?
Yes, it keeps on going in and
Oh,
out.
yeah, we're losing you. I think it must be your connection. Is
I
everyone
keep
else hearing
losing
okay?
things as well.
We've read
Do
that.
you? Oh, maybe it's
I
my
keep
connection.
losing. Yeah,
Maybe it's me. Oh, sorry.
Yes,
One sec.
we've read that one.
We
Oh,
Yes. Take your sons and chariots and horses.
yeah, I
see
read that.
good
Yeah.
Parsha.
right. So we seem to have a lot of sources that say that having an all-powerful leader is not a great idea. So Korach's question to Moshe and Aaron. So this is what he says. This is the Midrash. I'll read. He asked the following question. The Midrash says that he came.
Oh, there we go.
Right, we learned in last week's Sedra that everyone has white tzitzis. Hands up if you've ever seen blue tzitzis. Right, there are people that have blue tzitzis because the Torah says you should have white and blue threads. We say we don't know which blue it is, so some people don't have and some people do. But the original tzitzis had blue as well. So he dressed everyone in cloaks made of blue wool. And they came and they stood before Moshe and they said to him, does a cloak made entirely of blue wool still need tzitzis? Or is it exempt? And Moshe said it needs tzitzis. And they began laughing and they said, how can it be that a cloak of one entire material, that you put one string of blue wool, sorry, when you have a cloak of any other colored material, you add one string of blue wool on the tzitzis and you've done the mitzvah. Here, you have an entire blue cloak and you still have to add them. In other words, nowadays our tzitzis are white. So let's rephrase it, right? I think tzitzis are made of white wool. So you could say, I understand if you have a big I don't know, whatever, cloak,
Red
you put
wool.
white
Tallis.
tzitzis, you put
Right.
white tzitzis on. But if you have a whole talus made of wool, why would one string of wool do a mitzvah? The whole thing is made of wool. And Moshe says, no, it still requires one. And then the other question he asked is, if you have a room, it's not in here, but if you have a room full of Sifrei Torah, right? Imagine a room, a storeroom full of Sifrei Torah. Does it need a mezuzah? And Moshe said, yes, it does. He says, that's
Can't hear you.
ridiculous. Can't hear me? Okay, one second. Let me try something. Sorry.
You keep on going in and
Keep-
out, Rabbi.
Keep losing you. I'm losing this completely.
Yeah.
Is everybody there?
I'm here.
Hello, Anna. I can see you.
Yeah, I suddenly can't hear the rabbi anymore.
No,
No.
he went in and out.
Keeps going in and out.
The rabbi.
Oh,
Yes,
he's
Lost
gone.
it.
keeps going in and
Oh,
out.
you're host now, Anna. You're going to
Oh,
take this. You're going
oh,
to
there
take
we
the
go.
share. Yeah.
I don't have my Parsha sources. I don't know what to
Oh,
say.
right. We're all ears.
I thought, has anyone ever seen Sitsit I thought it's white with one blue thread.
Now you're going in and out, Lisa.
Yeah, I've seen them white with, yeah, whether it's one or a few blue threads.
Yeah.
Never
One
all
blue
blue, if that's what you mean.
thread
Yes,
on
they're white,
each
isn't it?
corner.
These
Yeah.
they're all white. Yeah. I don't think I've seen one with blue.
No, nor have I.
Right. Is
Hey,
that better?
At least I don't really study
Yes.
people's tzitzis.
Is that better?
Yes,
Can you hear
yes,
me
we
now?
can hear you now, Rabbi.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so this is really annoying. Sorry, I'm on two devices. Let me just get the thingy back for you. Come on.
Right. Okay. So it's a different version, which is slightly easier to understand. He said, if you have a room full of Sefer Torahs, does it need a mezuzah? Right. So Moshe said yes. So Korach said that's ridiculous. Why would it need a mezuzah? Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you've got
Okay.
holy things
Right.
inside.
Exactly. So this is Korach's challenge. Right. All the people are holy. The entire garment is holy. The entire garment is made of tzitzis. Why do you need one string on the corner? So, interestingly, tzitzis was the last thing we learned at the end of last week's Parsha. But Korach saying they're all holy. They're like a robe, which every thread is made of tzitzis. But so how does adding one
We've lost
string?
you by again.
No, I just stopped speaking for a minute. How does one string? How does one string suddenly make this garment holier? And yet the answer is it does need, right? Because Moshe and Aaron, we've said this before, they didn't set themselves up to be dictators, right? What do we know about Moses? What was his main quality that we're told? Biggest quality?
Modesty,
Yeah. Would you like to read, Iris?
humility.
Please read.
Humble.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Anna, I forgot about you. Please read. Sorry, so sorry.
Oh, he was a very humble man, more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth.
Okay, and what about Aaron? Let's see what it says about him. Do you want to carry on, Anna? Go on, it's quite short.
So they will put my name on the Israelites, and I will bless them.
Right, so when the Kohanim, this is a famous thing, people say, oh, I'm not worthy of duchening. You don't have to be worthy. You're literally just a channel for God to talk to the people. So they were just mere vehicles through which the force flowed. So Moshe was humble, and Aaron was just transmitting the word of God. He wasn't an entity of his own. So humility was essential to these roles. So, it's a bit like people say about Hasidic Rebbe. Well, it's dangerous because people do whatever their Rebbe tells them. And if the Rebbe said go jump off a cliff, they probably do it. And the answer is yes, but a good Rebbe doesn't tell you to jump off a cliff. They only give you brachas and advice which is beneficial to you. So Moshe and Aaron are good leaders. They are leaders, yes. They are powerful leaders, but they're humble. Interestingly, on the very rare occasions they do kind of flex their muscles a bit, it usually goes wrong. When they get a bit riled up, they sometimes forget, which is quite unusual. So, for example, here's an interesting incident coming up, right, with the rock. Right, what do they say? Brenda, would you like to read? This is what they say to the people who are saying, we need water, we need water. What do they say? Go on. Brenda, you with us? Hello? We've lost Brenda. Oh, Brenda, do you want to read?
Gone quiet again.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Do you want to read?
Read.
Yeah.
Listen, you rebels. Must we bring you water out of this rock?
Okay. Who's bringing the water? According to this statement.
Moses and Aaron.
Right. Who do you think is really bringing the water?
God.
Right. So
Hashem.
that's a fundamental mistake.
Yeah.
They get wound up and they say, you rebels, shut up already, leave us alone. What do you want? You want us to bring you water out of this rock? So there are different interpretations, but one says there's a problem here because it's not them, it's God. So their leadership works when they're humble. So Korach's whole accusation, the problem with Korach's accusation is Moshe and Aaron never asked to be leaders. We do need leaders, even though we are all holy. We do need people to guide us, but the humility is crucial. So Korach comes and says, why do you take all the power for yourselves? That's the most unfair thing you could say to Moshe. He didn't take any power for himself. God gave it to him, reluctantly, in fact, initially. Now, who is the highest person in the land? The king. We spoke about kings earlier. And how do we keep a king humble? We don't have a man walking along saying, you are, sire, you are but a mere mortal, like the Roman emperors. How do we keep a king humble? We mentioned this recently. Anyone remember?
He has to carry a Torah around with him.
Thank you, everyone. Beryl and Iris together there. Yes. So let's see what the Torah says about the Torah scroll. Who hasn't read for a while? Lost track. Lisa, do you want to read?
Do you want me to read again?
Lisa, you there?
Is Lisa there?
Yes, sorry.
Sorry. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's my connection. I'm sorry if it is my
Okay,
connection. There's nothing I
Lisa.
can do about it. Right.
Let it remain with him and let him read in. Sorry, I can't read that bit. Let it read
Read in it
In
all
it.
his life. Read from
in
it,
it
Lisa.
all his life,
Can
so
I
that he may
take over?
learn to revere his God, to observe faithfully every word of this teaching as well as these laws. Thus he will not act haughtily towards his fellows or deviate from the instruction to the right or to the left, to the end that he and his descendants may reign long in the midst of Israel.
Right. So the king, in order to be kept in his place, needs to keep the Torah with him. So let's be clear, what is leadership in Judaism? It's not status, but it's your function,
Just
right? So the leader
That's all.
isn't somebody who's the leader because they're higher than everyone else. That would be a moral failing. The orchestra needs a conductor, right? A play needs a director, a team needs a captain. Is that person better than everyone else, or are they simply the person designated at that time? Right? You might have, I don't know, if you're a cricket team or something, you might have a different captain every week. Right? England has football teams have different managers every month. Yeah. So is that person necessarily better than everyone else, or they're just given a specific role? So the answer is given a specific role. Moshe was given a role by God. As it happens, he was very good for the role. So the leader isn't necessarily the best violin player or the best actor or the best player, but they are a manager. They manage, they lead the team. Sometimes you have someone maybe becomes a team leader or manager. Football manager might be someone who's injured, who can't play anymore. So it doesn't make you better than everyone else. It means that you are making sure that everyone's following, they're going in the same direction, they're acting in concert. You have a vision which you communicate, you sometimes impose discipline. I mean, if you have, for example, you have a string quartet or something, you don't have a conductor, you have like, someone is the lead violin and they will basically, everyone will follow them, right? And it could be that sometimes you perform and people follow different people. So the person you're following at that moment, by virtue of the role they've taken on, their function, is occupying a leadership position. Same thing in Judaism. The king, because he's king, occupies a leadership position. Doesn't make him special as an individual, higher than everyone else. It's his position. Right? People say the queen is the queen was the wealthiest person in the land. It's hard to know because the king now actually has the Duchy of Cornwall, doesn't he? But obviously the crown estates are not his. They belong to the crown. If he abdicates, he no longer has them. The crown jewels don't belong to the king. They belong to the crown. It's a corporate entity. So it's not we don't believe in leadership. We don't believe in having people who are placed higher than others in order to do their job. But they're there to function. And humility is crucial. Now, without leadership, things go wrong. Let's just look what happened when there was no leadership. Anna, would you like to read? This is from Judges 17.
In those days, there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes.
Which, by the way, wasn't a good thing. There was anarchy, right? You
No.
have anarchy, right? We spoke about this last week. No, I spoke about the Shabbos in the Mishnah. We don't want anarchy. Anarchy is not a good thing. So, what's the answer then? So Korach comes along and says, Moshe, you take all the power for yourself. He's saying, it's not really power. Moshe's a humble person. It's influence, it's not power. You do need leaders. When you don't have leaders, you have anarchy. So what's the answer? So interestingly, the clue is in the fact that we mentioned this recently. What is Moshe called in the Torah? He's not called Moshe Rabbeinu, actually. I don't know what he's called. What is the moniker he is given in the Torah? We mentioned this recently. It occurs 18 times in the whole of the Tanakh. Anyone know?
But teacher,
No, I don't think he's specifically called that. Anyone remember? What do we call it? What would you say? I mean, we're going to be marking 10 years of our rabbinic career here. You would say it marks 10 years of what to the community? What's the word you would use?
service.
Right.
Service.
Right. So service is a strange thing, isn't it? And it's no coincidence that we call it a religious service. We call it service in the temple. And we talk about serving a community or serving a cause. A servant is beneath everyone. And yet we use the term service to refer to rabbonim, kings, right, community leaders, right? It's a paradox. We talk about serving the community. Well, wait a minute. A person who serves you usually is a minimum wage person. He's a waiter or a servant who's paid to serve you if they're lucky. And yet service has a double meaning because, of course, it's also a very high thing. You know, it's been my privilege to serve the community for how many years, right? The king would say, it's my privilege to serve the nation, serve God. So Moshe is called Eved Hashem. He's called the servant of God 18 times in Tanakh and once on his death in Devarim. The only other person given this title is, funny enough, Joshua, twice, which makes sense because he was Moshe's sort of prize student. So a leader, first and foremost, is there to serve, right? So imagine someone that's appointed to a position that's humble, that's, you know, accepted. You know, imagine you said to somebody, would you like to become a gabbai? And they said, oh, it's not really me. You say, oh, but you're such a knowledgeable person and you're in shul 3 times a day. I think you would be really a warden, right? A warden, a gabbai. You know, you would really add something to the services. And the person says, oh, it's not me. I don't like to take the limelight. You know, they say, but no, you're so talented. I think you'd be really good and you're good with people. And finally you convince them and they go stand for warden and they get the position. And the next week someone comes up to them in shul and says, is the power going to your head? And that person would be crushed. They'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's nothing to do with power. I didn't even want the job. Right? So this is the idea of being a servant. You're serving God. There's a bigger, you are leading the people, but you're serving God. And in fact, says Rabbi Yochanan said, where you find humility, you find greatness. Because true greatness requires humility. So, as people like to say, the rabbi's an employee, right? So rabbonim and teachers and judges might be servants of whoever they're appointed by, and that they shouldn't be. But the leader, of course, in Judaism is a servant of God. He's not a servant of the people. Only God is his master. He's not above them. He has the same obligations that they do, right? We all have the same 613 mitzvahs to follow. It's axiomatic in Judaism that anyone you go to for guidance or advice is bound by the same Torah you are. So they're not telling you what to do that doesn't apply to them themselves. In fact, it's not about popularity. There's a wonderful quote. I think it was the Chafetz Chaim, who wrote the book about Lashon Hara, who said that any Rav who, if his community don't want to run him out of town, he's not a proper rabbi. And if they do run him out of town, then they're not mentions or something like that. In other words, you should expect attention in leadership. If everyone's happy, you're probably not doing your job as a leader, because you should ruffle feathers to an extent. So let's see what the Gemara has to say about that. Who would like to read? Jeff, would you like to read? Oh, sorry, missed the previous one. So we are all servants. Sorry, please read. Go on, Jeff. You want to read?
To me, the Israelites are servants. They are my servants, whom I brought out of Egypt.
Right, so we're all servants, and a leader is also a servant to the Almighty. Okay, would you like to read the next quote as well, Jeff? This is from the Talmud.
Yes. If a scholar is loved by the people of his town, it is not because he is gifted, but because he fails to rebuke them in matters of heaven.
Wow. So if people like the scholar, it's not because he's good at what he's doing. It must be that he's not harsh enough. It almost sounds like well, I don't know, maybe it's a positive. Maybe they like him because he doesn't preach fire and brimstone. That's interesting. I don't know if that's a positive or negative. I don't know what's that trying to say there. I initially read it as a negative. Oh, they love him because he's too soft. But it could be that they love him because he's kind to them. Could be you read it that way as well.
It's not judgmental.
Yeah. A true leader never wants the job, by the way. Great leaders of Tanakh were all reluctant. Moshe was reluctant. King Saul was reluctant. Okay. Here's what the Talmud has to say. Rabban Gamliel was, there were 2 rabbis he wanted to appoint to office. And this is what he said to them. He said, do you imagine I'm offering you rulership? No, I'm offering you Avdut, the chance to serve. So this is how we see Moshe's role, Aaron's role. This is how we see leadership. We even use the phrase today. It's a privilege to serve this community. Rabbi so-and-so serves the community of Woodford Forest. Chief Rabbi has served our community diligently for 15 years, right? The king serves the nation. That's how we describe it in Judaism. So this is Korach's mistake. Let's see what Rabbi Sachs has to say in conclusion. I'll read Rabbi Sachs. This was Korach's mistake. He thought, what is a leader? A leader is a person who sets themselves above the congregation. He was right to say this type of rulership has no place in Judaism. We are all called on to be God's servants. We're all called the kingdom of priests. Leadership is not about status, but function. Without tzitzis, even a robe that's made entirely of wool or a blue robe is just a robe, not a holy garment. Without leadership, the Jewish people is just a people, an ethnic group, not a holy nation. And without being reminded that we are a holy nation, who will we become and what will we be? Did I say that? I can't see the last. And why? Right? So it's all about, Korach's problem is misunderstanding leadership. He sees it all as absolute power. And he's right. Absolute power is not a good thing. But it's not absolute power at all.
Good morning, Rabbi. Good morning, Rabbi. Can't hear you.
Better or worse?
Oh, that's better. Yeah,
Are you at home or in the base
I
medrash?
can hear you now.
Are you at home? I'm trying to work out where you are, Iris.
At home.
Ah,
I'm not
okay. You
feeling
have
too good. I keep getting dizzy spells.
Oh no, that's not good. I
I'm
didn't realize you had
using
so.
my phone hotspot.
What's the matter, Iris?
Keep getting dizzy spells this morning.
Maybe it's the drinking of plenty of water.
You keep breaking up. You keep breaking up.
Oh,
Okay. Push it.
It was a lovely night last night, wasn't it?
it was very nice. Thank you for it. Was very,
It was lovely.
very nice. Yes, I think everybody. Nice speaker. Very good.
It's charging now.
You're breaking up. I don't know what's the matter.
Oh, my one
Am
seems
I breaking
okay.
up?
You froze for a while. You froze, but you're back now.
No. It might be because I'm on my phone hotspot.
Oh, could be. Could be. Emmy, just relax.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I thought.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yes.
Right, okay. Just get my phone.
So Jeff's here. He's out of the picture, but he is here.
Hi, Jeff.
He's hiding.
Hello, yes, me.
He's hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see how Julian is.
Is Julian not well?
No, I don't know exactly what happened, but he was in A&E yesterday. Went to
Oh
hospital.
dear.
I don't know what it was. I wanted to ask the rabbi.
He wasn't feeling well over Shabbos, so he went
That's
into
right.
A&E.
Yeah. Oh,
What did he think? What sort of not feeling well?
I'm not sure. You
Oh.
have to ask him.
no. Okay.
I'll be back in a moment, so I'm just getting my coffee. Do keep chatting.
Okay. Not many of us says. Only we weren't here. Would only be ours. I think Lisa says she was on. Or
Yes,
coming
Lisa
on.
was coming, I think.
Yeah, she
Wasn't
said that
Anna
she was.
coming? I think Anna was coming as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Lisa thinks she's coming, yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're a little bit late.
Beryl and Anna say they're
Yeah.
coming.
Yes.
But Debbie isn't and Julian isn't. Pam isn't.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise it would be-
Oh,
It
there's
must be
Anna.
because this is
There's
the
Anna.
money. This is the money for Israel. I
Hi.
can't keep on
Hello, Anna.
moving this all the way
Hi,
around.
how's everyone?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Yeah.
Was last night lovely?
It was.
It was.
I
It
think
was
that's
very
the best.
nice.
I think that was the best chicken meal I've had at one of the community dinners. It was delicious. The
Well,
chicken was
that's
especially
lovely.
good.
Good. I'm pleased. I'm pleased. I
Oh,
didn't
you've
have
gone
any.
funny again.
I never had any input. I mean, what the menu was going to be. Blimmer did it all.
Yes, it was delicious.
Good. Lovely. Yes. I'm pleased. You didn't overeat then. That's why you're a bit dizzy, or no? Maybe the.
Yeah.
Hasn't been out for a while, actually.
Yeah.
Oh. How are you, Anna?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good.
Yes, I'm okay. I'm glad it's got a bit cooler.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
How's
definitely.
your studying going?
It's going okay, thank you. At the moment, I'm sort of looking for new jobs, so that's been a bit of a priority. But yeah, I'm looking forward to taking it forward,
Yeah.
which might mean studying or spending some time in some other areas of London, like Northwest maybe.
Oh, right.
Going maybe
Yeah. Yes, the Beth send you to well, for me it was the Beth sent me to a teacher over in Golders Green, and then
Yeah.
I was sent to 2 or 3 Orthodox people for to stay over for a night or two for a Shabbos or a
Yeah.
festival. That's what happened with me anyway.
Right. Okay. Am I back on? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Great.
Yep,
Fantastic.
can hear you.
Much better with
Hi,
this.
everyone. Good morning. Okay.